Don here. Okay, back again with another live stream, and instead of computers today, let me check my, well, it's yellow again, but it's been clearing up, so I'm going to let it go. If it's bad, turns out bad, I'll have to upload the backup. Tired of trying to restarting these streams 3 or 4 or 5 times. Okay, well, okay, 2 to 3 times, 4 times. Here's my belt. That's what I'm gonna work on today. And you might notice it looks a little different. Yep, it broke. Now, I kind of remember noticing a week or 2 ago that, you know, a lot of the threads were pulled loose. I just noticed, like, I didn't even notice it at the time. I didn't notice that, you know, there was 2 rows that I don't guess you can see, maybe you can, yeah, you can see that. There's 2 rows where it was sewed together. There's one, the closest one to the buckle. And somewhere in there, there's another. Oh, no, that's, can't see it. Let me see if I can do this in some way that it, I don't want it banging into my mouse and changing things on the video, that's for sure. Okay, there's the other one. Okay, here we go. There's one of them. Yeah. So I used to sew. I learned to sew when I started learning when I was about 10, I think, something like that. I was interested in anything, really, and I learned to sew. I learned to cook first, but I loved working out in the garage with, you know, tools and stuff. My dad died when I was 4, so I didn't have anybody to teach me. So I learned by trial and error mostly until I got grown, and then I got jobs and people taught me stuff. And you know, I learned something a little bit in wood shop and quite a bit in auto mechanics in high school, wood shop in junior high. And then you couldn't, would you believe it, back in 1975 when I took auto mechanics in Azle High School, Azle, Texas, you either had to choose. I wanted to take wood shop, welding, metalworking, and auto mechanics because I knew that was the things I was good at, you know, and I wasn't good at school stuff. Not that I can't learn, but I found out later nowadays I learn in a different way, mostly by seeing and doing. But I have to, when I read, I have to have total quiet. I can't have distractions, and I have good comprehension, but my eyes swap letters and numbers, so I didn't ever do very good on tests. And the only thing I could do, couldn't take notes. If I could listen to the teacher and not, you know, and just really focus on listening, I'd learn more that way. But anyway, and I didn't like this schoolwork too much, so I didn't study, you know, for a lot at home. And so anyway, I've passed, but I failed a few classes. One year I actually, sixth grade, I don't know why I'm talking about this. 6th grade, 5th or 6th grade, I failed, and I had to go to summer school. Well, I made sure I didn't do that again. So my whole summer I had to go to school. So anyway, got to fix it. And I learned to sew, and my mom had the best. We still got it, still in there in the living area now. It stayed in the closet for years, and we got it out a year or 2 ago. A singer, 1950s singer that my dad bought for her brand new back when they were just, you know, young, married, just got married. He died when he was like 23, 24 in the early 60s, but he had cancer. But anyway, she was good at sewing, but she didn't like it too much. And that is a heck of a machine, and it still works. Well, it needs some adjustments, but now. And the problem is I can't see, so I'm going to have to use this and a magnifying glass to even see to hit those holes there. And I wouldn't try it with leather. I mean, that thing could go through this, I'm sure, because I used to sew my jeans patches on my jeans and go through double, you know, big old folded up layers of jeans and break some needles, but it would do it. If you got it going fast, it'd just run right through it. It didn't stop like a lot of them would. Anyway, yeah, it was popular back in the 60s and 70s, late 60s and early 70s to put flares in your jeans to make them bell bottoms. Because in the 60s, you couldn't, if you could find bell bottoms, they were really expensive. So people started making their pants into bell bottoms. That was one of the first things I remember learning how to do. That's where I learned how about breaking needles and sewing jeans. But anyway, Yeah, if you try, I've tried sewing leather before, and the thing is, you only want to go across it once, because if you go across it more than once, then you'll cut it in half. It'll just cut it. It'll make holes in different places, and it'll just cut it off. So I wouldn't try that anyway, especially on this old. As you can see, this belt has seen better days, and I ought to get a new one, but I like it, and maybe I will get a new one. We'll see. This might be something on sale this time of year. But especially if you look at the, if I can get under that, I didn't realize just how, you know, worn the buckle itself was. It was chromed, but and I got to looking at it. I think that might be it. It's probably not brass. You know, it was brass belt buckles were really popular when I was a kid. Now I bought this. This is old. I mean, I imagine I bought this around 2000, 2001, but it's actually, you know, chrome plated and it stayed on pretty good, but that's might be copper. I don't know. It could be brass, but if it was brass, I wouldn't put, if I was making it, and I wouldn't put chrome plating on it. I'd leave it brass, you know. But I mean, that's, I guess, you know, if you want a chrome one, you're gonna have to do something to make it look like chrome, you know, and that is kind of more popular, that color. Well, I guess I don't know what's most popular, but it's got its wear. But anyway, I noticed the last several weeks when I'd walk, I'd hear the jingling. It sounded like I was wearing spurs, and that's what made me look at it. And I noticed that it was loose, but I didn't think it would come off like that. Oh. Okay, yeah, wasn't funny when it happened, but I guess the other people will laugh. The way I found out, the way it came, I was in the bathroom, and this thing fell in the toilet, right in the toilet. I mean, it couldn't have landed. Why did it have to land in the toilet? So I got over there, and I was a man. I used my hand. I got it out of there. Went over and washed my hands and bitched and complained a while, and then I walked back over there, and I decided the belt was sticking out, just flopping, you know, the regular end here, and I said, well, maybe I should pull that out of the loops, and so this fell, because it was just on here like that, but you know, I mean, I wasn't thinking, and it fell in the toilet. By that time, I had to laugh. So I'd already laughed. I kind of laughed a little bit before that, but it was. So they've been sanitized, but I do want to clean them a little more, and forgot to get out. Got me a spot here to clean them with. I got my little, see if I can get that lined up a little more under the endoscope. There's some black stuff on somewhere. That looks like, well, I was rubbing on it with just a paper towel and it was coming off. What I'd like to do is, I always wish I had a job when I was in my early 20s in General Dynamics in Fort Worth, Texas, aircraft manufacturing, and I was a hand finisher. And we deburred and we sanded, and then we also, as I learned more, we did hand routing of, well, within 10,000ths tolerance parts, certain things that the big CNC machines couldn't do, and we would hand do them, and we had tools to, you know, for guides, and anyway, parts. They were trying to get away from having to pay people to deburr parts, so they had machines. They had vibrating machines. Well, we ran the machine, so somebody was still going to get to work there. We ran the machine. So, you know, there was only one or two people that had, well, three. There was two machines. Two people sometimes would run the big one, and one person would run the smaller machine, but did the bigger parts. And they had these plastic rocks in them, and they had these giant tubs that vibrated, and they had water in them. That's denatured alcohol. That will eat my hands up. I already got regular alcohol on them earlier. Oh, while I was getting ready to make this video, right here, when I built this part and added it onto this old cheap desk, And when I built the cabinets in the bathroom, I had some wood left over, and I made that, and it has slide-out shelves. But what I didn't think about is when I got this chair that has metal edges on the arms, it's tougher than that desk. And so I'm banging into it all the time, so it started getting, this is white oak, and it gets splintery. I mean, splintery when it gets beat up like that. And I put clear tape on it, but it rubs off real quick. Oh, I see a giant splinter just hanging down. I didn't know it had got so bad. And I had routed an edge, a fancy little edge on it. Well, that's just pretty well all beat off of it. And I've always needed to do something about it. But I mean, to reroute, I was going to reroute it and round over it. But that means really, it needs everything taken out. It needs to be taken outside, well, so that I can route it, sand it, and then refinish it, but it's still going to get beat up. But I don't really. I decided I ought to put some, laminate some plastic type stuff on there. I didn't want to. I thought about it, but something that can stand getting beat on. But anyway, I'm talking about everything but what I'm doing. I'm always thinking about that desk. Anyway, did I say that I got a splinter in my knee? That was the whole point. So I spent 20 minutes digging the splinter out of my knee before while I was trying to set up my video here. I don't think this is going to look any different, but it won't have any, I'm not trying to make it look different. But what the vibrating machine, I wish I could throw that in there and vibrate all that stuff off of there, all that chrome off of there. It would, and after you leave it in there long enough. But the other thing, something I really might be able to do, of course, everybody, I've always known about acid, and they had acid etch down there where they clean parts before they would, down there at GD, I had to work down in that area some in the acid etch, and it was out in the south, what they call the south end. There wasn't no air conditioning down there. It was mostly warehouse. And in the acid etch area, well, it couldn't be. It had to be to where that acid fumes would. They had. Actually, I don't remember. I'm sure somewhere they had vacuum. Exhaust fans, but I don't remember any being like that you could turn on and off or do anything with. That little thing is really not helping me. It's just in the way. But I didn't do the acid etching. I did. Actually, what I did was grind cracks out so that it could be welded for damaged parts. But they wanted you down there doing it. I guess so. So the guys down there could show you what they needed. They knew what was needed. They weren't welders, but they knew what was needed. Anyway, what was the point? Oh, acid. I don't know why I never learned about it, but there's an acid that I saw on a video on YouTube. Guy was saying how to get rust off of steel, and it was muriatic acid. And I think he told what it was, or I went and looked it up. Anyway, muriatic acid is actually the same acid that's in our stomachs that digests our food, and so you can buy it, and it's not very expensive. And of course you could use battery acid, but I really don't know, never have known a place to get it of cheap. I always seemed, when you did see any of it, it was expensive, and it's so bad if it just tiny spit gets on your clothes, it makes a hole, and I don't like messing with it. This stuff is not, it'll make a hole if you leave it, but he said anyway, it's not as bad as battery acid. So battery acid is sulfuric acid. Muriatic acid is, muriatic acid is basically watered down of the acid that we have in our stomach. I forgot the scientific term. I saw it online when I looked it up, and I think the guy knew it and he said it, but I think his name is, the guy's he's a young guy to me. I'm old. I'm 62 now, and but he's a young guy, but he's the handiest guy. He knows how to do a little bit of everything. He's like me. I'm like that. And but he knows stuff that I never came across and never learned. And so I like watching. His channel's called 65 Forward, I think, on YouTube. And anyway, he was showing using it to get, and it works good. You don't have to leave it as long as you know, people do that electrolysis. That takes, if you got something that's got a bunch of rust on it, you might have to leave it in that bucket, you know, in your bucket of boiling, you know, electrolysis system for a week, you know, to, like, say, clean up an engine and stuff. I've seen people doing that, motor or block. So anyway, this stuff stinks. Put it up there, maybe it won't bother me. I started throwing it in the trash can, but it'll stink for hours. So it's clean now, and you got to pay attention. I have repaired a belt before, and you got to pay attention, because you definitely don't want to sew that all up and figure out you got this, like, for instance, having this on the underside. I've done that before. The more I'm looking, well, the thing is, even if I want to buy a new belt, I really want to fix this, because my pants won't stay up without it. I've got my little bag on. It's like a, you know, it's got a belt on it to keep it on you. Where's my camera? Here, my little bag that's got my, got my camera in it that has my lapel mic, how I do my wireless mic. Let's make sure everything was working and everything. Yeah, okay, oh yeah, my stream's okay now. It seems to do that every time I start one now. It starts out yellow, and sometimes if I restart it, it gets okay, and sometimes I just give up. Well, sometimes it starts okay and gets yellow and then green again, and usually it stays green after that. And I'm not used to that. For the last at least solid year, it has worked perfectly without hardly ever giving any trouble. Anyway, I say that every time now. So, I thought I might need that to catch, you know, that denatured alcohol. Denatured alcohol is a little stronger than you know, like rubbing alcohol. It cleans better, but it's not as strong as like lacquer thinner or anything like that. What's the other thing? There's one that's pretty strong I've got some of. It's a good cleaner. You got to watch out what you put it on. Anyway, I've got this under the deal, thinking that you're seeing it, because I forgot I switched. Acetone. Now this is all I got of a sewing kit now, and it's not much, but I looked in it earlier, and it's got oh, this is the way I wanted to do this. Dadgummit. That's my sewing kit. I wanted to make sure and show that lid. I can't see it so good. I guess those are Doves, but this was like a cookie or a candy can. You know, it's a tin, cookie tin, or candy tin. Something came in it, and I thought, I don't remember when I saved it, but I've had it for at least 25, 30 years, and so I like it. And that's what it's been ever since. I never used it for anything else since we, you know, I don't know what, like I said, I don't remember what was in it now. And this is my, I don't know why I'm showing, this little pen, somebody gave it to me, American flag pen, and I always liked it, but I realized I have another little deal that has some things like that in it, and I always keep a needle with thread on it ready to, you know, get the splinters out. Normally it's over there in another deal, but I put it in here so in case I needed to use it, because it turns out I only have 2 needles. Now, where is that needle? Oh, I took it and put it in here. This was always my emergency kit, and actually all this thread I bought is so cheap that it breaks. You can't hardly even, you thread the needle and try to tie, you know, like tie the other end and then pull on it and you'll break it. It's really not usable. I don't know why. I haven't thrown it away because I don't have anything else. Oh, there's a big needle. I kept looking and looking and looking for a big needle. I used to have a set of, you know, like upholstery needles. And I don't know, I guess all of my stuff, see, I had my own home for years, and I moved out and got married when I was 18, and I still have a lot of my stuff, but it's in the garage here at my mom's. And when my health got bad, I had to come back here. And if that'll go through those holes, I'll use that. There's another one, because that won't, I don't have a thimble. And, you know, so I can't, that one I can probably hold on to it and push it. I wouldn't put my finger. I have pushed so hard before that without a thimble that I've poked the head of the needle through my finger, and that doesn't heal very quickly. It hurts too. Yeah, it'll go through those real good. So if it'll go through that other set, this other set's harder to see. No, it's big enough. Okay, so there we go. I looked in there and didn't see that. The one I was thinking I was going to use, it actually had some black thread on it and it broke, so I threw that thread away and put it in this. So I think I'll put the lid kind of back on this. I don't want to end up turning this over and spilling all that out. That's happened before. Now, that belt, you know, might be flopping around. Now, this is the only thread I got that's halfway strong. Look at there, 50 cents. And it's polyester, but I think that's actually stronger than cotton. I always liked cotton thread because I like cotton clothes. But hopefully, now I thought that was a piece of this that broke. Oddly enough, when you use a small needle sometimes, especially these newer ones, and I'm talking not made in the 40s, 50s, or 60s, maybe 70s, needles, this, of course, is not that old. I mean, it's from the 70s or 80s, but I guess. I don't really know how long I've had it. Can't find the end of the thread. There's, should be an end somewhere. There we go, there's something. See if it's, yeah, this is not upholstery thread, and that's what I really want. Let's see how that end looks. Yeah, that's what now I'm going to get off the big, well, no, I think this will be fine. That looks like it would go through there. It's already been cut with some good scissors. You got to cut your thread with good scissors so you don't have all those burrs or spurs or whatever sticking out. And get it wet, which I already did. And so I can't even see, I can't see that the hardly tell there's a hole in there when I look at it with my glasses on. Oh, let me put my work glasses on, my safety glasses. Not that they're magnified. Those are 1.25 and these are 150. They do help better. It's kind of hard to do this, so I'm not. Did I make it? No. I'm not very good at looking up there at that. I need to be looking at what I'm trying to do, not looking up at the video screen. I really feel sorry when I see those, I guess Chinese mostly, people that are building electronics on those videos, and they are working down here on a table and looking with their head so far back it looks like it would hurt in about a minute. Looking up at it looks like a projection, not a regular camera like this. And this one's, of course, you can see not that high of a resolution. It's just good enough to be able to use it. This is an endoscope, but theirs is like a projection up on a screen. And they're making circuit boards. But I can't do that, so under that, I can't do it under that. So let me see if I can do something a little different like that. Guess if I put that under there, you'll probably see what I'm doing. It was under there already, wasn't it? Well, it makes it too bright. If I go, let's see about right there. Now, if I can get up under there, might be just enough space. This is why I don't sew anymore. And I don't like hand sewing it. It's always been too tedious for me. But Sometimes you think you need to get closer, but you actually need to get further away with these magnifying glasses. Yeah, I thought I was going to get to start. And if I can let go of it without taking it out of there. I got it. Okay. Sometimes I'll have, well, that'll be double. See, that's what I'll do. So I'm going to try to get about as much as I think I would need. I'm not sure what that would be, but let's see. Let's get this out of the way. Or really, you don't want any more longer than you can reach with both arms, you know, when you, yeah, about right there. You just can't work with more than that. That's just drive you crazy. There we go. Comfortable pull. That's, yeah, let's see. Where's the other end that I want to tie? Well, first I better get them like this and find the ends. Oh, don't make a knot out of it. That's what I was worried about. It's already made a knot. Why did you make a knot? Maybe if I take my finger out of the hole, out of the knot, the loop, it'll quit doing that. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I made it so long it's pretty unruly. I think I found one of the end. Well, I found that knot for sure. Sometimes you can get in such a mess you can't fix it. Just trying to do this right here. This is women's work. They got the patience. They got little fingers. Most women do. Lots of them do. Some of them do, and they usually have patience. It used to be in my day. They liked doing this stuff, and so I was glad to let someone else do it. By the time I was about 14 or 15, I was over the sewing thing. There, it came out. Well, yeah, by the time I got, well, by that time I had been taking wood shop and, you know, stuff like that in junior high, and I got me a car when I was 16, right after my birthday. I saved my money for about 3 years, my allowance. I had like $1.50 a week allowance, and I saved it for 3 or 4 years until I had I paid $180 for my 1962 Buick Invicta. That was my first car. All this sewing, I guess, got me on memory lane. Evidently. So, I think I got a knot in it. Yeah, that ought to be enough. And then as I, you know, when I get, lots of time I like to tie two to make sure it doesn't come loose, but usually you have a hard time getting them to land together. And if I'll just leave a little extra and I can, you know, tie them in another knot on the end there. Okay, now let's see if I can, I'm just letting that go down. Again, you don't want it to get into another knot, so I'm trying to make sure it's. Anyway, you got to stretch it out and make the both sides the same length. That's what I'm doing. Okay, put it down here in my lap for now. My fingers have always dry. I wash my fingers all the time. I don't know if you can, if they're showing up right now or not, but I have. Yeah, see little pieces of skin that's dry hanging out, so it hangs on everything. So I try to lay it down, and I can't. I let go of it, but it picked it up, and then I dropped it, you know. So, I'm going to make sure this ends up the right way. I had a leather working kit when I was a kid. I didn't buy it, or nobody bought it for me. It was my mom had, well, the house we lived in when my dad died. We didn't sell it because I wanted to keep it. I was the one that wanted to keep it. And when we moved out here to Hazel, and so I talked her into keeping it and renting it out. And so she, what was my thing? Oh, some bad renters that didn't pay the rent had to kick them out. Well, they left a whole bunch of junk behind. But a lot of it was good stuff. That's how I got into Estes rockets, model rockets, and that leather working kit. It didn't have all the little deals; they were not all there. And I still got it somewhere in the garage, and I still got my Estes. Well, I got into them. I bought more of my own, and anyway, all kinds of cool stuff. Oh, an electric heater that still works to this day. This is in the 60s. I was young, 10 years old, 8, 10, when we got that stuff. I can't remember what all we got, but let's see. I may need these needle nose to shove it on through. So I guess I'll start on the back and work my way that way so that when I tie my knot, it won't be so I'll go through that one, make sure I'm not messing up. See, I can't let go of stuff to save my life. A thread, anything lightweight like that. What's on my thumb? You'd think I was magnetic to things. Okay. Yeah, if that's the way it goes, then... So I've got it all rolled up, but it's rolled up in the right direction. This is the way I wear it too, so put the buckle, you know, this on the right. So yeah, and then you got to have that in the front. And there's a space between the two sewed points where this goes, and this was I think this was gone. The thread here was all gone, and it was, you know, banging into that. So I'll try to go ahead and do them both. And I guess I might have to go through it more than once because this is not thick enough thread for this. I almost wonder if I have done this before, and that's why it broke, all came out like that. I'm going to try doing this one first and then do the other one. I'm not sure. Oh, I've got a light on that, and that's what I need, is a little more light. Where I'm sitting, my thread is not working too good. Let's see. Yeah, this thing has a light on it, so. Try to do it without washing it out too much. Yeah, this wasn't what I planned for today, but once I realized I had to do it, I thought, well, might as well make a video. I think from all my videos, I generally always get more views. I don't get a lot, period, but I get more views on Fix-It stuff, Mr. Fix-It stuff, than I do on computer stuff. And I like to do the computer stuff the most nowadays, so that's what I do mostly. That one top one, you got to get the right ones, or it won't line up. All the holes won't line up. So I'm trying to start with it. See, I can't see it. Oh, if I can use the camera thing. Oh, here we go. Is that gonna work? Looks like there might be more than one spot that's been poked at. It could be that I have sewed it up before and end up making a new. Oh, there we go. I just hit it, I think. Nope. Thought I did. I think I started at the wrong end. Well, I mean, if that's the hardest one, then that's the one you want to do when you can move around more, you know. I don't know. This may be way harder than I even thought. I wasn't looking forward to it to start with. And it could be because this hole's not as big as I thought. There, I think I hit it. It was just, I was just missing it somehow. and the rest of this down here somewhere. Now I can see this getting getting wadded up, and it's going to get in a big mess. So I'll try putting it back down on my leg. Okay, now, yeah, I'm going to go through. Thinking about how I should do it. I don't want to go around the edge. That'd break in no time, you know. Even inside the, I mean, I'm not worried about the looks necessarily, but I mean, you know, I care. But yeah, I'm going to go through. I'm worried about making it as strong as I can. That's what I'm worried about. So I'm going to leave that long enough that I can tie them again. So I'm going to leave it like that. That's not really normal. You'd usually pull it all the way up. But let's see if that hits the other one. I think this is going to be the struggle, is to hit this second hole every time and try not to poke myself. Even with that light on, I still don't see that good. Whoops, wrong one, too far over. Yeah, without these holes in here, well, I mean, in some ways it might be easier because I got it. Yeah, in some ways, I can push against the table. It's not hard to get through there, though. That's not the issue. It's just finding the holes. But what was I going to say? Well, if you were making new holes, then of course you wouldn't be hunting for these. But here's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to tie it several times and then go from there. And staying under that little endoscope is pretty hard. That's why I have the two cameras, because I know I can't. I mean, in order for me to work, I can't concentrate on where is it on the screen. Like I said, I just can't do that good. I'd like to do another. I'm going to leave that hanging until I'm done. I might figure out a way to. Just redoing those over and over like that's still not a real good knot. Okay, now. Of course, this is probably something that I'm such a novice at that, anyway, I just thought it might be interesting. I'm hoping that if they lined up, and I don't want to put my fingers so close to them that, you know, I'm hoping it'll line up and go through both of them. Me having to see the other hole. I don't know. I was hoping tying that off would help that, you know, help it line up. So far, it's not really doing what I hoped. Let's see. Is there another set of holes that I'm skipping? See, I got. Yeah, there. Doesn't matter if I go back through the same one again, but I really was not going to, because okay, that's my thread. So there's this. I can't do it on the camera. There's my next set of holes. I guess I really am going to have to get me one of those stands with a big magnifying glass in it, because I can't see. I wonder if these working glasses are actually not as good as the others for what I'm doing. Let's see. Sometimes they're better. Like on the computer, I can't use them. No, they were better. Now I really don't see anything. But I need both hands to work, and so getting, oh, dang it. Magnifying glass out. I mean, I could prop it up again, I guess. But then it's so close that that's why I wanted to use the camera. I got more room to work with the camera. That, and of course, I'm trying to make the video. Now that's the thread, and that looks to me like there ought to be another one right there. Is that the same one I've already been in? Let me get my magnifying glass and look. I still can't really tell. Yeah, this is why I want someone else to do it. But no, my mom wouldn't do it for me. Not if I had money to pay her. Actually, I don't. Well, actually, she can. She's always wore glasses her whole life, but she can see to do this stuff better than I can now. Even though she's 84 or something like that. Tried to con her into mending some jeans for me when after we got that thing out. She actually made her a cover for her sun visor in her car. It had, fell all apart. The sun had ruined it. And I found the plans, basic plans on how to make one. I knew, I knew people had stuff like that all over the internet. So I found some plans and showed them to her. She doesn't dream up stuff in her head very well, but she actually follows instructions pretty good. I don't. And she made a real pretty cover on that sewing machine. She worked it, and I didn't know it was such bad out of adjustment till I tried to use it after she did. I kept saying, "Is it working okay?" And she said, "Well, yeah, if you do this or that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And she sewed, and I tried sewing it. I couldn't sew 3 stitches. They just ruined, completely messed up. Of course, I was sewing a different kind of material, but I couldn't. It took me 30, 40 minutes to thread that needle on that thing. I couldn't see for save my life, and that's my big problem right here. I don't really know what to do. Try this can, and I mean, I can prop this up a little higher, but I don't know if that. Yeah, I don't think I can get my needle under there. That's a problem. It actually makes me see it better on the camera when I do that, and I might. I guess the camera needs a little more help for this, for me. Where's my spot? There it is. How funny. Now I'm using the magnifying glass and the endoscope. And now I can just about see where the holes are. So where I originally thought the second hole was, I guess is where it really is. Now I'm moving everything. Got everything. Oh, picked it up without thinking because I messed up the camera and got it all out of whack. So I wanted to put it back. What happened? I had it straight to the table. Get all this stuff out of the way. With it straight to the table, it was made my stuff pretty straight. That's oh, I see. Yeah, see this big old cable. When I move this around a lot, that moved the cable. So it's all different now. Everything is different now. There. Well, I was also going crazy with the way I was moving it. There. The directions are backwards. The directions for movement drives me crazy. Yeah, okay. No, it didn't get moved as much as I thought. Okay, this is not supposed to be like 10 minutes per hole here. Evidently, I need serious help with this. I thought tying that up would just help these really line up pretty good. Oh, I guess you got a lot of slack the other, not just left and right, but the other ways too. Well, this is actually, I didn't want to do it this way. I actually just thought I might drill 2 holes and put nuts and bolts in there. And then when I looked at it and I saw there was 2 rows, I thought I was going to put like around, you know, smooth on this side and like a little nut, those cap nuts on the top. I thought, nah. Now I almost wish I'd have done that. Well, I thought with all these tools I got here, I might be able to do it. But man, this is, I can't see, not only can I not see this top hole, but then I can't tell where I'm going with the second hole that I'm trying to hit. I guess I should try something else like that. I figured if I spread them apart and tried to hit them like that, I would end up hitting completely the wrong one. Okay, 1, 2. I can see them better on that side. 1, 2, 3, 4. But I still have to go front to back, so that's not going. Okay, I got it in something. It's the right one, I think. I started to grab those pliers there. Well, they tend to slip on there for one thing, but I don't want to. You can break the needles. I guess, yeah. 1, 2, 3. That's where I should be, is number 3. Okay, now I need the pliers for real. Ugh. Yeah, you can hurt yourself with these darn things. You gotta stay away from them when you're doing leather, especially, because it'll jerk and jump on you. Now my belt is not going where I want it to. Maybe I better straighten it out. I just don't want it messing up bumping into my mouse. For my keyboard mouse. Okay, so I got, where am I? I'm on that side. This could be longer than a computer video. I thought it would. I was always saying, well, doing real works goes, well, it does usually go faster than doing computer stuff for me. Oh, it went right in there, just like I was hoping the first time. Yeah, those are slippery. Those old needles are slippery. But see, I need to go back through. This is not very thick thread, so I need to do this at least twice. So I figure I'll go, you know, up one way and down the other. Yeah, there we go. It's kind of, I'm figuring out that it's kind of all to how you lay that belt down. The holes will self-line up. Okay. I watched not too long ago. I guess that's one reason why I thought, oh, I can do it. Well, like I said, I've done it before, but I watched somebody make, I watched some videos on making belts and stuff or something out of leather. Oh, they were making a knife sheaths, and they were doing lots of sewing up and down that thing, and it kind of made me think, you know, well, that's pretty cool. You know, I mean, I always thought it was cool, and I thought, man, that's way better. I've got one. Well, I've got one. It was my dad's Boy Scout knife, and I've used it all my life, and on and off. You know, I keep it in the drawer here in my bedroom most of the time. But the sheath has been in bad shape for many years. You know, it's well, I mean, the last about that much of it, last 1.5 or 2 inches, is just open, and it won't fall out. But and it's not sharp, so it's not going to cut me or anything. But you know, it's an antique, really. He had it. He was, well, let's see. Okay, they got more. I was born in 1956, so he was a Boy Scout in the 40s, I guess, or late 30s, early 40s. So, you know, you're usually about junior high age, 5th grade, and so on. Well, I mean, you can go all the way up to, but usually you start when you're, well, Cub Scouts when you're like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, and then I was a Cub Scout, but I never got to be a Boy Scout. didn't get to, you had to go places, and of course my mom had to work, and then you had to go right after school, and she couldn't take me. She was at work. So anyway, the Cub Scouts, oh, I rode the bus over to the other person's house, to one of the other moms in our town was our Cub Scout leader. And I was able to ride the bus because it was on the same, well, I was able to ride the school bus over there after school, and then she would come and get me, or actually sometimes one of the other moms would bring me home or something. But then as I got older, that stuff came further and farther between, getting rides and stuff like that for me. So anyway, that's why I didn't play football too. I liked football, but I never got to play it. And I didn't get to play Pee Wee, so I didn't want to start in 7th grade when, I thought I was all behind everybody else. And then somebody taught some other guys. Well, I was friends with the guy that ended up being the quarterback all through high school. We were both good at throwing the ball. And anyway, a couple of people said, "Well, you're good, you should do it," And oddly enough, so I was about ready to do it, and then I didn't get to go to the summer practice. You were supposed to go to summer practice, and I didn't get to, so I was going to have to, I could still do it once school started. The coach said I could. He didn't like it, but he said I could, and I told him I couldn't, had no way to get there. And so he didn't like it, well, I guess so, and that bothered me, so I thought, well, he's not going to want me there. So I was a little kid, 7th grade, and so I never did it. And so that set my tone all the way through high school. And I like mechanics and woodworking and music. It's what I really love all my life. So it wasn't the biggest thing in the world to me either. So okay, now it didn't turn out to be or whatever. When I was that age, I really did like it a lot, football. Anyway, yeah, I've gotten out of there forever. Well, like I said, at least you got another view. When I'm watching a video and somebody has a close-up and they get out of it, it bugs the heck out of me, but I'm having so much trouble doing this at all. I'm just glad that I'm doing it. I've got to go right back down that with thread already in there now. Let's see if I can do that. Let's see. I wouldn't absolutely have to, but this is not strong thread, so if I can, I'm going to do it. And I think I got enough to make another run. Then I guess I'll make a new set to try to do that part. A new same length one. It seems to do it better. I can't see it down there, but it lines up and goes through when you just lay it down. It just makes it line up. So there we go. Now it's a little shorter. I can pull it with the pliers and just leave it in the pliers and pull it. Yeah, you would think it would pretty well be lined up, but it's not perfect even though I've been through it one time. Let's see. It's not lined up. It's making a new hole. I don't really want to do that. I want to go ahead and use the same holes. You can get through it with the point fairly easily. But then when you start getting to the big part of a big needle like this, then it gets tougher and you wished you hadn't have done that. There we go. I think, once I get back to the other end, well, I'll make it come out so that I can tie those last two together, that long piece and this piece. Well, this is the long piece, but anyway, my foot's starting to hurt the way I'm sitting here. And it's best to lay it out flat. Then it wants to line up. I said then it wants to line up. And when it doesn't want to go through the second one, it's so tempting to just shove it on through there and make a new hole, but I don't think that's going to be a good idea. There, got it. Kind of pulling on the last, you know, the other end, and it kind of helps, I think it helps line it back up, sometimes anyway, not every time. Let's keep trying that, because I think it does help. Yeah, that lined right up. I think that's something sometimes I forget to do that. Because even though I've already went through there, I haven't tied it tight. It's not tight, you know. I keep twisting. Well, actually, it's probably better to keep going the same direction. Keep spinning this belt. We're getting there. For some reason, the light, even with that light on, I mean, I can make it a little bright. Well, it's already to the point where it's kind of white, you know, washing out. But for some reason, it's just the color of everything right there. I bumped into that cable, the other end of that cable, like I was talking about. Made it move a lot, didn't it? Okay, with that my cookie tin or my candy tin, sometimes they used to put candy in things like that instead of cookies. So that's why I say I don't know for sure. Now that one I can see, it just shows right up. Yeah, that was now let me see. I wanted to go back through the very last one again, but if I do, what's going to happen? Oh, I did go back through the very last one again. So actually, I don't know if that knot will be doing me a lot of good like that right there. Will it? It needs to be across two holes. Yeah, that's the same hole. So I'm going to go back through that last hole one more time. Actually, it may have only been gone through once. I'm not sure anymore. And then come back up the one next to it and then tie them together. I'm cheating. I'm using the magnifying glass too. Trying to figure out which one is the next. If there's two there or one. Okay, I think that's where I want to go, right there. Oops, thought I had it started good enough. There we go. That thing is no wonder. The metal strap, whatever you call the thing, was all turned and misaligning things. I think. There. Messed up again. I'm not so sure I actually ever went through the very last one here. I might have not seen it. Can't tell if there's thread in it or not. I don't think there is. And I don't know why when I go through the one side, I don't come out the other either. It is lined up, left, you know. Every time I turn it to try to see, you know, what I'm doing on the other side, it comes right out of there. Maybe if I try turning this thing this way. I may have turned it so many times it's fighting me. Okay, now. Oh, I've got thread in my thing. I don't want that. It got pulled out. It got pulled out by the locker. What, I don't know what to call it. Got pulled out by the locker. Okay. Glad I saw that. Okay. I just realized I'm on the same side as the. Yeah, there's another. Oh, no, there's thread in it, but I don't think it's been gone through but once. Let me get my pliers, and I don't want to poke it through in a whole new. Don't know why it won't line up. Line up. Just one more hole here. That's all you got to do. Keep your fingers away from that needle point. Well, it's not all I got to do. I got that whole other row to do. This thing would work like this. That's kind of one reason why I started on this side. There we go. Somehow I hit it. But I want to do it, you know, get it back to the right way. I'm kind of tired of listening to it jingle anyway. It's kind of weird. Everybody can hear me coming down the hall and everything. Nobody said anything, but okay. Now, let me look on those again. This is where I am. I'm on the very last one, and yeah, it had been through already. So I'll go back to the next one, go back through again, and then my tying points will be on the same side. My tying strings will be on the same side. This one's still pretty long, probably enough to do one row. I'd rather it make it the whole way though, so I might get a whole new set of thread. I don't like wasting thread, but this is kind of a deal where you really don't want to start and stop any more times than you have to. One time is exactly right for this. Sticking through, no, yes. Where is it sticking through? Oh, it's not sticking through yet. Yeah, if you hit the second hole, then you know it goes through pretty easy most of the time. Yeah, the last time I had to do that, I had to kind of get it started and then whittle it around. I don't know why. It it's hard to, you actually need, see, for doing leather, this is a pointy needle, real sharp. What you really need is one that's kind of rounded on the end, especially when you've already got the holes there like this. Now, if, you know, if you were trying to puncture through it, yeah, but since there's already holes there, I need one of those kind that I used to have some of that don't have points. And then, see, every time I touch, you know, a spot, it just wants to try to go through that spot. I can't just, can't, you know, aim it well like I should be able, like I could be able to if I had those other kind of needles. Did I get it? It feels like it might have went all the way down to the table that time. Yeah, got it. You just gotta have it straight, that's the thing. Yeah, those holes are big enough that I was surprised that it turned out to be that hard to do. Well, it worked out. I don't have any loose threads. I can't see the threads, but I know I can feel them. I know they're there. So I'm going to go ahead and I won't cut this one off until I get done tying this long one. Tie it twice, and then I'll try to tie one of those. I'll cut them off, and then I'll try to wrap them around each other or themselves, and I'm getting hung up here. And try to tie it once or twice like that, and then try to tie it up close enough that I can now I'm going to put them together, get them a little damp, see if I can I can't, my fingers are not good enough to but I got these tiny little, if I can get it halfway started around that loop, or even get the loop started. Then can't see if I'm going in a loop or not. That's the thing. I have my thing at sort of an angle, and it gives me more room to work under here, but it also, anyway. Problem is I can't even see. Once I wrap it around, I can't see whether it's going through the loop or not. Try twisting them a little bit. Yeah, so those of you who can tie a cherry stem into a knot with your tongue, please stand up. I need help here. I think I might have got one. Yeah, I did, but it's ended up being a ½ inch off the... I can feel it, but I can't see it. A ½ inch off. Now I already tied those down, you know, I mean it won't come loose. I don't want that sticking out of there if I can help it. Try it one more time. The more you tie knots, of course, the shorter your string gets. I ended up having to do it with just my fingers by feel because I couldn't really see. Twisting it up, I think, helped a lot. If I could see it, then I would grab it, and the whole thing is if you get it hold of it in the right way, you can take your thumb and nail and shove it on down, just right on top of your first knot, your last knot, and then let me try and see if I can actually use these to help me tie the knot. I don't know. It's not really something might be possible. I can't twist them the right direction. Thought maybe I had got one, but I didn't. Might be better. Well, let's try it one more time. I was really close. This time I think I'll try sticking the needle nose through there. There we go. Why didn't I think of that to start with? Now. Okay, now somebody hold that. Hold them things there, right there where I need them. Okay, but that's not going to happen, so. Where's that needle? Sometimes you can use a needle to do that. I just remember. If I had some light. There, maybe I can actually use the... Okay, I think I got that one down closer. No, I think it landed on top of the other one. Let's see. It's just going to have to be like that, I guess, because I can't do it any better than that. It's about a ½ inch off. Yeah, they landed on top of each other, but they'll be good knots. It'll keep it from unraveling. I can't, yeah, there we go. I don't really want, you know, extra thread dangling out of there, but more than that, I want it to be staying together. You see, it's been tied about 3 or 4 times down there, and then that's like the safety knot. And normally, I mean, it's always tricky for me, but if you get lucky, you can get it right down on there within like an 1/8 inch of where you're at, and then you don't have any room for unraveling, and you don't have something sticking out. But I'm not going to cut it off. Most people just cut them off and don't do that extra knot, and that stuff will unravel. And then there's the only one thing you can do is let them unravel and then retie them again, and then end up trying to do this kind of knot. Now there's maybe some other kinds of knots I don't know how to do. Normally I see people just do, like, you know, the first knot when you're tying your shoes and leave it. When people that are showing you how to sew. And I've learned, that's how I learned to sew, was repairing stuff and trying to make things last, and it won't last. Now that is about half as, I guess I used around half of what I had out. But I'll show you. I have that much thread left, but I had it out as far as I could reach. So I'll take this off. I hate to unthread that needle. I'll take this off of here and start again, but I'm not going to throw this away. And see, I got another whole one to do, because if I don't do that one, it does that. It works like that, because it's been like that for I don't know how long. But if I can do that other row, and you could have done that other row first without this in the way, but I actually was afraid I would not be able to do it, and I'd be too shaky and worn out, you know, too tedious. When things are too tedious, I get to shaking to where I can't do it anymore. But I can handle another one, I think. So I'm gonna try the other one. Except for one thing, my left leg has gone to sleep and it's killing me. I gotta get up and take a little break. So, but I gotta get this thread off me. That's why there's thread. I was wondering why there was black thread wrapped around this. Now I know why. I had done the same thing not that long ago, evidently. Well, I mean, I don't know how long ago it was, but yeah, I just saved that extra empty spool for things like this when I want to save a good length of thread. I can't get a hold of it. I'm trying to wind it in another a row of its own so that I can see that that's another row. Yeah, that's good enough to sew on a whole button or something. I don't want to waste that. And this is the only thread. See, I have lots of thread in there, but that's really the only one that's any good is that. I'm going to put that in here because I don't want to lose it in the carpet. I found my other video where I was fixing the faucet. The two of these went flying. Well, I saw this one last night. The C-clip that holds the faucet, the sprayer on the sink, kitchen sink. I had 3 of them, the one that was on there and then 2 old ones, and I ended up splicing 2 together. But you had to take the sprayer off and put it back on. And this one went flying in here, and the other one went flying in there in the kitchen, and it hit the wall and then took off somewhere. I heard it hit the wall. I kind of saw it going that way. I hadn't even looked for it actually. I gave up looking for this one. I tried to find it, but what I'm going to do, I have to have a break from my leg in, a break. So. A potty break. I guess if I'm going to talk about my belt falling in the toilet, I don't have to hide what kind of break I need. I just don't like saying that all the time. Some people don't want to hear that junk. I don't care to hear it all the time. I know what you're going to do generally when you say you need a break. So I'm going to stop the video and just start a new video when I get back to working on it again. All right. Be back in a little bit.